So we're at the LA Art Box, my first solo exhibit. Come check it out. First, we're gonna start with Ebony. I've been really big on just Ebony magazine and the luxury of what they gave for Black African Americans. And thinking about this picture and dissecting it, it's all about emotion and having different characters, kind of dictate that emotion. For me, it's all about being able to collide emotion with movement. So that's what this painting is about. This is Ebony, 1979. The R.E.D exhibit. By Felicia is based off of Friday, the movie. I wanted to capture real emotion, like within this character or whatnot. By Felicia is someone that is always kind of, nobody wants to engage with her, but deep down inside she has vulnerability and a lot of emotion. So if you look at her eyes and her lips, all the things I wanted to kind of emphasize on or whatnot, you see the direction and the feeling of that film with her. So that's what that. This painting, Land of the Free, is really a play on, like, do we believe that we live in a free, society or whatnot, and are we free within this society? So this actually came from inspiration from when I was like 18 years old, and unfortunately I had to run from the police because of some kind of curfew or whatnot. But it was very, we were harmless, as you can see, our faces or whatnot. But I feel like this speaks for a lot of Black young artists. I mean, not artists, but Black young people. You know what I mean? So that's where this art was inspired from. This is Heavy is the head that wears a crown, and I think that a lot of us as African Americans, we don't understand our worth or whatnot. So when I think about this painting, I think about understanding your worth. As you can see, we have the classic Basquiat crown or whatnot, just used to uplift. And then looking at the red mark here, I just think that there's a target on that work or whatnot. And so I wanted that kind of emotion. If you look at the eyes, you can see, power, you can see fear, you can see all of these things on this one painting. So really great painting. We're gonna move over to what I like to call the emotional woman trifecta, which is kind of, as you look at this piece or whatnot, this is called the pole dancer. A lot of times when we look at pole dancing, sometimes people feel like, oh, that's raunchy or whatnot, but I believe inwardly that every man and woman alike wants to be free within their sexuality. And so I wanted to use this piece because it's one of those things where I feel like everybody on the inside introspectively is like, wow, that looks really cool, I wish I could do that. But the way society has viewed being able to be vulnerable and to be able to show yourself, they've changed that connotation to something a little bit more negative. So moving over to the collection, so the trifecta of the women or whatnot, this is the next one, which is really a woman in a dominant position. And so I really wanted to use this because I feel like there's power within that sexuality, as I was mentioning about the pole dancer. This one is the seducer. It's the woman really embodying her sexuality and her love for it. So just finishing off the collection, this is a picture of a lady in a very sexual but also beautiful position. I think that sexuality can be beautiful, so I really wanted to use that within this collection. And thinking about the colors, inspired from Henry Matisse, one of the masters that I truly am inspired by, and I wanted to kind of bring that to life. Moving over to for the culture, right now, an emerging artist which, I mean, he's been emerging for a long time, but thinking about like Tyler, the Creator, when I say emerging, I mean, you know, he's really getting his shine right now. Tyler, the Creator, this was inspired from that. He would wear like very interesting hats or whatnot, but for the culture to me is about like, where is the culture going and what is culture anyway, you know what I mean? And so I like to keep some satire in my art paintings. I'm not saying that this is, you know, like, it's just more so like, based on the title, how does that move you to think about the culture, you know? We're gonna move over here and then we're gonna go back down the rest of the gallery. But as you can see here, we have ODB, one of the great legends of hip hop. And I think that when we talk about R.E.D, so breaking down R.E.D, raw emotional dissonance, is really understanding us at our raw selves, emotionally being able to kind of bleed through the dissonance of like the world. The world says one thing, but we feel a certain way on the inside. And speaking for just like, you know, the African American culture, thinking about ODB, it's like he really used his voice to like really project amongst like the noise of hip hop or whatnot. So to me, he's definitely someone I could have done this exhibit without like this understanding of just like in your face aggression. And you know, this one is called Who Will Survive in America. The next piece I want to talk about is my piece on I Can't Breathe. And as you can see with the mouth, I really wanted to put emphasis on the ability of breathing, because right now, when we think about like what's going on with COVID, we wear masks, but we're also masking our voices. You know, we need to be loud during this time, and the dissonance really is that we're wearing a mask in a time where our voice should be the loudest. Another thing is thinking about George Floyd. Unfortunately, you know, he had a knee like in his throat or whatnot, and it's one of those things where, you know, he lost like breath, and so a part of that is also stems from that tragedy. So we're gonna go ahead and move over to one of my favorite pieces, which is The Savior. The Savior was really inspired based on the idea that we have a lot of pain, trauma, power, and all the things that I mentioned as we went through this exhibit. But in particularly, I really want to you know, shed light on like the gold chain. I think that power and even the direction that this image is looking, it gives a sense of like pushing forward rather than this sense of like down, like just because we're beat up and we have stuff that we've gone through. Their head is not tilted down, but its head is tilted forward. And then you also see here with the kind of chain and whatnot is more of that value and that worth. And so as I mentioned, as I'm going through this, the R.E.D exhibit being based on raw emotional dissonance, it's raw emotional dissonance based off of, you know, my perspective, but also the perspective of Black culture. We're gonna continue. Now, this is called R.E.D in the blue dress. A lot of this art in particular was really inspired from just kind of a plethora of really amazing artists. I think of like Jacob Lawrence. I wanted to kind of capture the strength here, you know, in her arms, but also be able to make it look more of like a cutout or whatnot. And Jacob Lawrence being really great with collage work, but also his paintings have a lot of iconic collage cuts, and I really enjoy that about his paintings. Another thing I want to bring out is the mouth. You know, I switched it up, but I thought about Caravaggio, and I thought about like, you know, his ability to bring an artist into the painting. So like as you're looking, you're wondering what the lady in the blue dress is thinking, and where it's going. It's like, whoa, she's kind of looking over here at this, you know, very powerful statement here or whatnot. But you know, you as the audience, I want to give you that perspective to be able to kind of be a part of the painting as well. And so the use of colors was really important on this picture as well. Just making sure that I brought out some of the emotion through the colors. Much like music, it's all about movement and colors and making sure that they balance. The next piece is men are from Venus and women are from Mars. And so a lot of people sometimes are like interested in why did you do it backwards? You know what I mean? Why did you go, men are from Venus and women are from Mars? It's actually the opposite. It's because in this painting, really, I feel that men really want to understand women, but we never really understand. And women, I think, have a better understanding on who we are as men, and they talk amongst themselves or whatnot. And it's one of those things where it's like we both want the same thing, but we don't know how to mention it. So hence why all of the movement within the markers and things of that nature. Moving on to Boys in the Hood. This is definitely one of my favorite art pieces as well. My background, I grew up in San Fernando Valley, Northridge particularly, and back when I was growing up, like Northridge wasn't like a super bad area, but it wasn't like the greatest area. Right now it's definitely gentrified a lot more. But there was opportunities for me to get into trouble and be in gangs and things of that nature. And when you look at being in a gang, sometimes it's like enticing. It's like, oh, it's acceptance. You just want to have more friends and whatever or whatnot. But for me, my spirit never resonated with being like a gangster or whatever. I had friends that were, definitely doing stuff. But this picture to me is a representation really of of me and being in that or whatnot. And I'm sure other, black males and, minorities and things of that nature feel the same way. So that's kind of where I was going with that. Now, ODB Deconstructed. This is by far my favorite piece. Thinking about this piece and, as I was working with this piece, this is like one of my first pieces where I felt like I really identified my talent and, who I am and where I want to go within like the art community. And the reason why is because I studied George Condo, and I was doing a lot of kind of studying where I would draw and mimic some of his paintings. And what ended up happening was I just fell in love with the idea that, to create something, to have so many layers and colors within a painting. If you zoom in, you'll see that ODB, his face is composed of several different colors and shadings or whatnot. So it gives it this kind of abstraction. And then also just the pain and the frustration and the fire that's coming out of ODB is, to me, that's something that's unparalleled to something that I've seen myself sometimes in galleries. It's like, it just gives you like a feeling. And so that's really where a lot of my paintings are inspired, is from that feeling that you get. Lastly, I want to just kind of go through this really classic picture of what is called Augie's fried chicken soup. And so as far as like with the fried chicken soup, I was actually in Atlanta, which Atlanta has some really great fried chicken, but also just thinking in a sense of satire, like, the comical joke and stereotype is like black people love fried chicken. And so I thought to myself, like, how can I make something that would be like something that would be familiar? So let's go to Campbell's chicken soup, but let's also go to Andy Warhol, and then invite that into a reimagination. And that's where the fried chicken soup was inspired. So that is somewhat of the full rate of the exhibition. Very, very excited. And so the next piece I want to show you is the Tyson 1986. This is the classic time where Tyson actually won the heavyweight championship of the world, and he was 20 years old. So for me, that was really impactful. I wasn't around at that time, but I was definitely around during the time where he was really climbing up the ladder and making a name for himself. And I think, to me, the reason why I feel like it's dissonant is because Tyson actually is like a pillar of like strength and power. And unfortunately, he did some stuff within his career, but sometimes it's like, what do you expect? I mean, if you think about Genghis Khan, if you think about some really like Charlemagne the God, all these like Hercules, they all had their issues, you know what I mean? So I don't think that we should dismiss somebody because of their issues. Moving on to what I think for me as an artist, I really enjoy other artists that do self-portraits, and so I wanted to make more of a abstraction of my family, and so this is my family. Okay, so this is a depiction of Trayvon Martin. Really, if you know about Trayvon Martin, he was a young black kid that was wearing a hoodie and he was walking around a neighborhood that I guess he wasn't really a part of, and he was killed. And I felt like that could be me, so I wanted to create really this picture to represent kind of like the fact that this could be anybody as well, you know. And so the tape is kind of just a peeling away of that person himself. So yeah, I wanted to kind of put that, and then I sculpturized it. So I decided to you know, kind of use a sculpture piece to bring it out in a 3D way. The next thing I want to talk about are the frame pieces. And so a lot of the way that I like to create is really based on being able to have like freestyle time. Like, so it's a sketch and to throw things out, but my sketching is usually like would be considered my finished pieces, because I want you to see all the strokes and all the things that I did. So the cool thing about these pieces that are on paper, these would start off as just ideas. Like I would maybe take this picture and it would be on a wall, and I would just start drawing, you know, freestyling, and it would just all come together. So majority of my paintings are freestyle. I don't like have a sketch before I draw, but these are cool because they're kind of from my sketchbook, you know. Now we're gonna go ahead and enter what I'm coining the fine audio experience. And so with the R.E.D show, I did create a unique album called the R.E.D album. And yeah, I pieced that together and was able to put together videos to kind of allow you to feel that emotion. So all throughout the gallery and all throughout the time of the gallery, we have played the R.E.D album. So come on and take a look. So in this theater, I wanted to capitalize on, I'm not just an artist that just paints. I like to use all different types of mediums, and so as the music is playing, you get a sense of like how it was made, and you get to be a part of that kind of emotion. You see the emotion in my face. As you can tell within this exhibit, it's been about just bringing out the emotion in every aspect and using those mediums to amplify that. The next video here is really how I paint from start to finish. Being able to create and be in a flow. I think that is so important, especially with the structure of today. It's very hard to be in a flow because you're focused on maybe too much technique, or you're focused on things that really don't matter. But I think it's really important to put yourself into the art. And so with this video, that's really what I'm bringing to light, is the ability to be in a flow and just go with what you feel, and allow that to kind of show itself.
So Augie, how do you feel about your solo debut?
So, man, I feel, honestly, the word I can't even describe. To have a solo exhibit and to get to this place, just from an artistry standpoint, has been pivotal for me. I think that when I think of opportunity and being able to express yourself, a solo exhibit is the best place to do it. And so to have the opportunity to express myself in all different mediums has been so impactful, not just for me, but for the people that have come and seen the exhibit. And so I'm just really elated.
Can you maybe elaborate on why you chose to do more than just paintings, and you did sculptures, and you did an immersive experience, and you did video, and music?
I mean, I think that society wants to box you in to be one thing, and to be honest with you, I think that a lot of us have multiple skills and talents, and being able to create this exhibit for me was definitely difficult, but it was a lot of fun because it allowed me to expand and to challenge myself. And so I wanted to use the immersive experience that we have in front, and the music and the art and the visuals, because I feel like they're all in one, they're all the same. We just decide to move them around or whatnot. So a part of this is being able to shed light on, different mediums that can be used. There's no right or wrong answers within art.
Do you think you'll explore a complete immersive experience show at some point?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something I'm looking into, because I like that immersive is using all of your senses. And I think we're getting to that place as a, community where, as far as the art, it's starting to be able to be something that is more than just something you look at or something that you hear, but eventually you'll be able to taste it and actually be a part of it. And so I feel like every art collector or person that loves viewing art can identify with that.
So from this show, which is a very robust offering, where do you see yourself taking this? What's next for you?
What's next is continuing to build more immersive art. I mean, that's kind of, for me, the challenge is to express myself and be able to take that expression and allow others to be impacted by it. And so I want to do a lot more exhibitions. I'm looking to travel and show more of these kind of expressionism pieces and go from there.
That's great. So how do you gauge success as you expand in your world of art?
Yeah, I mean, success is something that was created. I think when we think of success, it's about being able to give yourself a challenge or give yourself a goal to get to. But for me, success is people just being impacted by the work. If I have a bigger platform, then I'm able to express myself in a bigger way. And so for me, that is what success means to me as it pertains to art.